Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping by today. I'm back with a new layout for Hip Kit Club, and I'm using the 2019 November kits and the December documented kits. And this layout is already going to take a turn from what you see here. I had an idea to incorporate this dark forest green color into a Christmas layout because it's the one color that I tend to not use. And I wanted to use the two of the ribbons that we get in the December documented kit, as well as this beautiful twiggy wreath cut file that Annette designed. And what I thought that I would do, I was feeling hearts for some reason, and I don't even know why. So what I wanted to do was just take some packaging from some stickers and go back to kindergarten here and just cut out some hearts the old-fashioned way. And so I just bent the paper in half, or folded the paper in half, and then hand cut some hearts. And so what I thought I would do is use the ribbon and glue it down on top of this heart and have basically ribbon striped hearts. And I also wanted to incorporate some of that green paper. So I would have the red and white striped ribbon, the light blue ribbon, and then a strip of this green, because I was bound and determined to use this green color. That is honestly one of my least favorite colors, and I definitely don't like it with red. But I thought, this is a Christmas layout, challenge yourself, try to use some traditional colors, because I tend to not use the traditional colors, and I definitely did not want to use that color as a background, so I wanted to use it sparingly in little parts. So that's what's going through my head at this point. So I'm going to cut a couple strips, kind of basically making my own ribbon with this cardstock, because any color is good in small doses, even if it's a color that you don't gravitate toward. If it goes with other colors and you use it in small increments, it's not that bad. So I start by just getting my glue, getting these hearts, and basically creating stripes or strips of the ribbon. And right away, I don't know. I don't like it. Obviously, I would trim around it so it's just the heart. But I don't know. The more I looked at it, the more I just didn't like it. So I didn't want to waste time. So I took a break and I took that ribbon off, came back, and decided to play around with some other things. So I pulled out another sheet of cardstock, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's that really, really pale, wintry blue color. It's powder blue almost. And I decided that I wanted to run the wreath off the page. So I'm going to use gesso here and this cool little brush. I know this isn't new, but it's new to me, and one of my awesome online scrappy buddies sent that to me to try, and it's amazing. It's like a silicone brush. I still use my fingers though, because nothing beats a good old smudging of the hand here, because it does the best job of creating that hazy, faded look around the edges. So I decided to do some mixed media around and underneath the where the cut file is going to go. I'm still going to use the hearts. I'm just not going to use the ribbon. And I did add some gesso to these hearts off camera. And I'm going to go and use the two of the Lindy's magical powders that we get in the color kit. One is a really vibrant red color, and then one is pink. And I'm going to use both of these. I kind of wanted more of a red heart and then more of a pink heart. And so I'm just going to have some messy fun here and just kind of mix and match these powders with some of the Lindy's sprays that we've gotten in previous kits from a long time ago, and just sprinkle it right onto the paper and then activate it with water, and then just use a brush to kind of spread the color around. And again, this is just some of the packaging that I'm using here, and I did coat it with gesso, like I said, to kind of give it a little bit of strength, because that packaging is not very strong, and with the amount of water that I'm adding here, it would completely just tear it right away. So gesso is key here for creating that barrier between all this liquid and the paper. So I'm going to keep playing around here and get the red really red, and then get the pink one more on the pink side. And then I'm just going to let these dry on their own. I did not want to add the heat tool to these because I feel like you get a completely different look when you let something air dry versus using the heat tool with it. And I like both of them. It just depends on the look that you're going for. Now, let me tell you about this. If you have not gotten this, this is in the December documented kit. It's the Jen Hadfield Gold Glitter Spray, and it is exactly like Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine. I'm not kidding. It's basically the same thing. It's amazing. And I just had to add some into the wet paint there on the hearts. Now here's where I kind of got hesitant about green, because I still wanted to challenge myself to use that green color, and I had not yet used the green that we get in the color kit. Wait, not the color kit, the December documented kit. It's a Lindy's Starburst Squirt, and so you don't get a spray top. It's more of a little squirt bottle, kind of like a ketchup or a mustard bottle. You just twist it and then squeeze it, and the color comes out. And it's got some gold glimmer in it, so it's gorgeous when it dries. But I actually love how this turned out, and I'm not a huge green fan, but I think this winds up looking really, really pretty. And even though I use a lot of non-traditional colors, I was proud of myself for getting a lot of green in there. So I take a lot of time to make this background. I do lots of things to it, and that's mainly why this video is so long. But I didn't want to cut anything out. I wanted to leave in all the process so you could just kind of see what goes in to making this, and how to fix what you don't like, and how to, you know, just make things change as you progress with the page. So the spray there is a green color that we got, I don't even remember, it's been a while, but it is called Mad Hatter Mint. We got that several months ago, so I spritzed in some of that. And then when I put the cut file back on top of it, I realized that I had done too much green sort of in the center, so I'm just going to smudge some white gesso over that to kind of lighten that up. Yeah, when this is said and done, there's so many layers of stuff on this background, but I think it's worth it. So my hearts are still drying, and I'm going to add a little bit of blue, not a lot. I still want this to be primarily green, but this is a blue that we got, gosh, I don't even know how long ago. This is the Tiffany Lou blue. So I let the green dry, pulled everything on top of it, kind of like how I want it to go, and you can see my picture there that I'm going to scrap. I printed it in black and white, and it was a couple years ago, actually, gosh, 2014, more than a couple years ago. That was the year that the girls got a trampoline, so that's a picture of Paige on the trampoline. And when I had the picture situated over this green arc, I realized that I needed some darker shades. It just dried too much of the same color. So to add in some quick shading of some darker tones of the green, I just pulled out a couple of gelatos from my stash, and you can see how, I say this a lot, but when you add the cut file back on top of your messy background, it completely transforms how the background looks. And so you're just going to be able to see these little green spots kind of underneath the cut file, kind of giving you the illusion of darker colors. And so it's okay if it's not perfect. I'm just scribbling down this gelato here and then using my finger and just a smidgen of water to kind of help it blend. And it works out great. And I'm just mixing and matching. I got a couple of green ones and actually a gold one right there. That's a metallic gold one that kind of blends in and helps create the illusion of a dark green when you mix it with more. And you kind of see there what I'm talking about. When you put the cut file back on top of it and then everything else, it doesn't look as messy, if that makes sense. It just looks like it was supposed to be that way. But I love the difference that that makes just by adding in some darker parts. And I did want to use some of the die cuts from the hip kits this month, that cute little penguin and the Santa and a couple others that I'm going to wind up bringing in. But obviously I'm still working on this background because it just takes me a while. We're still not done. I'm going to come in with some splatters here, and this is that Jen Hadfield gold glitter spray, I think is what it's called. It is amazing. Yeah, if you're missing Heidi Swapp Color Shine, then get some of this, because I swear it's the same thing, which is good to know, because I never met a person who didn't like Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine. You can kind of see there how it's shimmery on the hearts, where I dripped in some of that before those dried. And you can kind of see how I'm going to do this here. I decided to overlap one of the hearts on top of the photo because there's some open space. We're coming back in with more splatters. I felt like it needed some pink since I've got the pink hearts. So I'm going to add in pink, and that's a light pink Lindy's spray that we got, again, a long time ago. It's called Cotton Candy Pink. And I'm really liking how this background is looking. And I'm going to leave the cut file white because I wanted that to remain light and airy. And yeah, I debated about whether using a white background, but I thought this light blue was pretty because I think that light blue color just gives me the illusion, or it gives the illusion of winter, you know, even though we're in Florida here, and what is winter? It's the middle, almost the middle of December. Well, getting close, and it's in the 80s here all week, so that's just crazy. But yeah, so I still wanted it to have a wintry feel. So since I decided to pull in that turquoise blue puffy sticker that's the little house, I wanted to pull in some more of that color over to the right. So again, I just went for another gelato, doing the same thing I did earlier, smudging it down, adding a little bit of water, mixing it with some of the sprays. Because if I introduce a new color in one spot, I feel like I need to echo that color in a couple other places scattered around the layout. And so that is why I'm adding in the blue here, because I definitely wanted to use that little blue puffy house sticker because it's adorable. So I'm going to dab everything up using my big roll of paper towels. I like to, sometimes I use the tip of a napkin, and sometimes I roll my paper towel roll over it. If I want to lighten it up, I'll just roll my paper towel roll over it. Oh, look at all the shimmer there. Love how that turned out. So, so pretty. If I want to keep the splatters on the darker side, that's when I'll use the tip of a napkin to just barely dab some of it up. But if I want to lighten it up significantly, that's where the big paper towel roll will come in handy. And when you roll it, it does not mess up the shape of the splatters. You know, sometimes if you just take your napkin and dab it on top of it, it ruins the shape of the splatter, and it no longer looks like a circle. It looks more like a blob. So I've learned over the years the different ways to kind of control that. All right, so I'm going to jazz up these hearts. I'm going to add a little bit of a red gelato to the red one just to make it a little more red. And then I wanted to use this really cute snowflake stencil and some of the embossing powder that we get in the December documented kit from Moxie. And this is just some embossing. It's like an ink pad, except it's in a little dabber or dauber, whatever you want to call it. And I've got that from Michael's years ago, and it's still going strong. I just wanted a little hint of gold, and I like how this turned out, but it was kind of misshapen a little bit from the stencil there on the left side. So I'm going to pull out my little scrapey tool here and try to fix it a little bit. But in the long run, it looks kind of abstract, which is kind of the look I was going for. I didn't necessarily feel like this had to look like snowflakes, but I just had to emboss something because look at that. I love watching the powder melt and how it just instantly transforms into this shiny gold. So I do a little bit on the other heart too. And this is just going to bring in some more gold and a little bit more texture and interest and shimmer. And I'm going to play around with more of the embellishments. I'm going to use die cuts, puffy stickers, some regular stickers. Yeah, there's so much to choose from. It is so hard to choose what to use. And based on what I've already got here, I feel like I don't need a lot of embellishing. And I feel like I say that a lot, but when you use a really big cut file like this, you know, and my picture is not super tiny, and I have those two big hearts, I want to leave some open space. I don't want to, you know, fill up every single open spot to make it a lot busier. So I'm going to try to keep all my embellishments sort of tight and compact around both sides of the photos there. But before I decide anything further, I'm going to go ahead and glue down the cut file. And I'm not adding glue to the entire thing. I'm just going to add little dots here and there because I am going to wind up stitching with my sewing machine through the twigs, or through the circle part actually. But yeah, I do change my mind on a couple things, but this is pretty much the direction that I'm going. I'm going to use a couple of tree stickers and or die cuts. I definitely want to use that little Santa because it looks like he's running toward her in the photo. And I'm just adding adhesive foam. I added it to the photo, added it to a couple of these embellishments to pop things off the page. I love to do that because it creates dimension and it just adds fun texture and interest to the page. I'm going to glue the hearts directly down. The edges are going to kind of curl up, which is good because, again, dimension. Make sure my picture is straight and then start to come back in with all those little bits and pieces that I know that I want to use. And I was actually very proud of myself for using red and green on this layout. Even though I did use, you know, turquoise and pink. I think I've used pink on, actually turquoise and pink, I think, on every Christmas layout I've made using these kits. But hey, that's just the way it goes. I don't think I can stick to just red and green alone. All right, so I'm going to add in some thread here. You know I can't make a layout without it. I will feel very lost if I don't get my thread in there. So I'm going to use a little bit of the aqua blue color over where I'm at right now, the bottom right-hand corner, kind of underneath Santa and that little Christmas tree. And I could not get it to tangle the way I wanted it to, so I had to work with it a little bit. But it's just going to add some texture and some hints of that color right there in that area. And then get it all glued down. I'm going to use, I felt like, okay, if you see where I've got all the red and the pink, I need some red and pink kind of where the penguin is, kind of down in that bottom area. So I'm actually going to pull a big strand of red and a big strand of hot pink and then tangle them up together and tuck that right there on the bottom, because I feel like I've got the red heart on the left, the red and Santa, and then I needed a third point of red, or another little area to kind of move your eye around the page for red, if that makes sense. And I don't always do that, just sometimes I feel like it needs it. Okay, here's where I took a break off camera and I did some stitching, and I used gold metallic thread and I just went around the circle parts. I didn't want to stitch the leaves down. I wanted those to be able to kind of pop off the page. And then I removed those two heart stickers because I wanted to use this pretty little studio die cut that says Joy, because it had all the colors that matched. And then I wanted to use that little cupcake because it was just cute and it had the right colors that I was looking for. And then for some reason, I decided to add in pops of orange. Yeah, orange on a Christmas layout. Go figure. But I found two puffy star orange stickers, and then I needed another third pop of orange over on the right. So I searched through everything, and I do manage to find one more orange little thing. I'm just trimming off the white trim here around this Joy piece. And I'm going to stick that right onto the photo because there's a lot of open space right there. And I feel like, you know, she's still very visible. Nothing is being covered up. And it's not crowding the photo too much, I don't think. Oh yeah, for the last part of my title, I was going to use that chipboard piece that said Christmas. And then I'm going to emboss again one of these little wood veneer die cuts that says Wonder. Oh, watch it melt. Magic. So easy to do. I love that. You get instant metallic gold. My only complaint, and it's not really a complaint, but my issue with metallic gold is photographing it. Because if you don't photograph it, do you see Wonder now? It looks so dark. It just looks like dark brown. And if you don't photograph it in the right light, it doesn't have the right effect. So that's my only issue with it. There's a little orange present. It's a present die cut that I added to the right. and then I'm adding my journaling lines, and then I'm using my gold metallic pen for journaling. And finally, 20 minutes later, there's the final photo. I tried to get it the best lighting I could. You can kind of see in the red heart, some of the gold looks dark, but the rest of it looks shiny. Shiny as I could get it. I had to tape this layout to a big piece of foam board and walk around outside, tilting it in the light up in the air while trying to get a straight picture of it. So hopefully you can kind of see how it turned out was okay. I did the best I could considering all this shiny gold, but you can definitely see it in all the close-ups, all the details. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you for sticking with me. This is the longest video I think I've ever made, but that's, you know, how long it took me to make it. So, yeah, anyway, let me know if you have any questions. I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.